rule of 6, and we have restrictions such as a 10 p.m. closing time on our hospitality sector. Mr. Speaker, I take no pleasure whatsoever in imposing restrictions on these businesses, many of which have gone to great lengths to reopen as safely as possible. Nor do I want to stop people enjoying themselves. But we must act to save lives. And the evidence shows that in changing our behavior, in restricting transmission between us, our actions are saving lives. Left unchecked, each person with the virus will infect an average of between 2.7 and 3 others. But SAGE assess that the current R nationally is between 1.2 and 1.5. So we're already suppressing that R to well below its natural level, which is why the virus is not spreading as quickly as it did in March. But we need to go further. In recent months, we have worked with local leaders to counter local spikes with targeted restrictions. But this local approach has inevitably produced different sets of rules in different parts of the country that are now complex to understand and to enforce. So, just as we simplified our national rules with the rule of 6, we will now simplify and standardise our local rules by introducing a 3-tiered system of local COVID alert levels in England, set at medium, high and very high. The medium alert level will cover most of the country, and will consist of the current national measures. This includes the rule of 6 and the closure of hospitality at 10 p.m. The high alert level reflects the interventions in many local areas at the moment. This primarily aims to reduce household-to-household transmission by preventing all mixing between different households or support bubbles indoors. In these areas, the rule of 6 will continue to apply outdoors, where it is harder for the virus to spread, in public spaces as well as private gardens. Most areas which are already subject to local restrictions will automatically move into the high alert level. As a result of rising infection rates, Nottinghamshire, East and West Cheshire and a small area of High Peak will also move into the high alert level. The very high alert level will apply where transmission rates are rising most rapidly and where the NHS could soon be under unbearable pressure without further restrictions. In these areas, the government will set a baseline of prohibiting social mixing indoors and in private gardens and, I'm sorry to say, closing pubs and bars. We want to create the maximum possible local consensus behind this more severe local action. So in each area, we will work with local government leaders on the additional measures which should be taken. This could lead to further restrictions on the hospitality, leisure, entertainment or personal care sectors. But retail, schools and universities will remain open. As my Right Honourable Friend the Chancellor has set out, the government will expand its unprecedented economic support to assist those affected by these decisions, extending our job support scheme to cover 2/3 of the wages of those in any business that is required to close, and providing those businesses with a cash grant of up to £3,000 a month instead of £1,500 every 3 weeks. We will also provide local authorities across England with around £1 billion of new financial support on top of our £3.6 billion Towns Fund. And for very high areas, we will give further financial support for local test and trace and local enforcement. And assistance from the armed forces, not for enforcement, but rather to support local services, if desired, in the local area. Mr. Speaker, I can report that we've been able to reach agreement with leaders in Merseyside. Local authorities in the Liverpool City region will move into the very high alert level from Wednesday. In addition to the baseline I've outlined, this is as well as pubs and bars. In Merseyside, gyms and leisure centres, betting shops, adult gaming centres and casinos will also close. I'd like to put on record my thanks to Steve Rotherham and his colleagues for their cooperation in very difficult circumstances. Engagement with other leaders in the Northwest, the Northeast, and Yorkshire and Humber is continuing. I know how difficult this is. They, like us, like everyone in this House, are grappling with very real dilemmas. But we cannot let the NHS fall over when lives are at stake. So let me repeat the offer.